Hello and welcome to another God-Sized Hobbies episode of God-Sized Stories. I'm very blessed. We have Brandon with us today. Brandon's been on many times in the past, but for those of you that don't know you, Brandon, give us the 1 minute of who you are.
Oh, 1 minute of who I am. I should get my wife in here to do this. No, I'm married, and my wife and I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I serve on staff at Village Church of Gurney. Swiss Army knife of our staff team, but doing a lot of things with pastoral ministry, outreach, some administration. I do pretty much except play musical instruments because I have absolutely zero musical ability. So
Totally fair. I'm in the same boat. So we're here today to talk about your hobby. Tell me in the audience what your hobby is.
I have, from my earliest memories as a preschooler, been a baseball fan. And within that, I am thankful to have the opportunity to go and take in baseball games in person on occasion, particularly at the friendly confines of Wrigley Field, located at 1060 West Addison Street in Chicago, Illinois. And it has been just a lot of fun down through the years to get to go to a lot of Cubs games and seeing a lot of good baseball. A lot of bad baseball too, but just some good times with people, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Wrigley Field's just a very special place.
You touched on it a little bit, but really, what got you started with the hobby of going to games?
My very first Cubs game was my 6th birthday.
Oh.
And my parents surprised me, and we went and saw the Cubs play the Reds that day, and the Cubs won 10-1. I mean, I can remember things just clear as day. It was freezing cold, and I didn't care one bit. And that was just a very special memory from growing up. And then, fast forward a number of years and decades, and then being able to go down on different occasions and even split a partial season ticket package with different people in different years. And it's nice to have the ability, the flexibility to go to a variety of different games, depending on what my schedule looks like and so forth. And that's been a lot of fun too.
Amen. So how does God provide rest through going to baseball games?
Well, sometimes it depends on how traffic is driving down to the ballpark.
Yeah.
So I have learned that driving down to the ball, if it's a day game, driving down to the ballpark is great, but driving home is a nightmare. If it's a night game, driving down to the ballpark is the nightmare, but then driving home is better. So, but once I get down to the ballpark, I mean, there's just something about just being able to kind of get into this zone of, again, Wrigley Field, the neighborhood, it's a familiar place, a lot of memories. And yet, as I'm going with different people who maybe haven't been able to go to the game for a while, getting to show them around and say, hey, here's what's different. And then, getting just to take in a ball game, on a summer afternoon or evening. And, hopefully it's a season where the Cubs are doing well, but it's the type of thing that just the distance from just kind of getting away from the office or, going with somebody can be just a welcome, refreshing change of pace for me, that while I get home at the end of the day, and I'm sleepy, but it's like, that was a good day. And I'm hope I can get to do that again here sometime very, very soon.
Yeah. Even as we sit here now, I can sit in my head and just like the sounds of a baseball, just as you're sitting there, you can just hear it in your head and be like, the feeling of, even when they're uncomfortable chairs, you're just like, there's just something about it. You're sitting there like,
Hey, Red Hots, get your Red Hots here.
There you go. So how have you had opportunities to grow personally through going to baseball games?
So I was talking actually with people at church about this just the other day, about how no one believes that I'm an introvert, because when I'm around church, people see my outgoing side, and I do love people, but left to myself, I'm not only an introvert, I'm a homebody, and I am perfectly content to sit at home on my couch and just hunker down and relax. And it's kind of like even just getting out and doing anything with anybody it's kind of like working out, it's like, man, I don't want to do this. And then I do, it's like, oh, I feel really good. And even something as much as going to a ball game can be like that for me. But what it's provided me, it's the opportunity to, either do things with, family members, on a one-on-one, go down a ball game with my wife who, bless her heart, she has to put up with so much baseball just at home anyway. But while for her watching baseball on TV, this is almost a direct quote. It's like watching paint dry. But she likes going to the ball game, and she likes going to Wrigley Field, taking my daughter down, and to each of my nephews, doing one-on-one things with each of my nephews. That's been a lot of fun. People that I know here from church or friends of mine from college that are back in the town. I got together with one of my roommates last year. He'd been a missionary in Guatemala for a number of years and just moved back stateside, and is living down in Indianapolis now. And he hadn't been to Wrigley in a while, and so we were able to meet up and catch up, and that was a lot of fun. And so sometimes just even able to gift the tickets to somebody, and that can be a lot of fun too. But just for me, it's that the opportunity because I've only got 2 tickets, so it's me and one other person. But for me, it's just that one-on-one time with someone, which hey, I don't need to go with a whole busload of people. As long as I just got quality time with just one person or 1 or 2 people, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of the things I always tell people about the uniqueness of baseball and why it will probably always be my favorite sport is you can go to a game and have a full deep conversation with someone.
Exactly.
And not miss a single thing on the field.
Exactly.
I can't go to a basketball game and do that. I can't even pay attention to the football game enough. They lose me. But like a baseball game, I can fully enjoy both the conversation and the sport, and it's wonderful.
And you also have the opportunity just for the the car ride on the trip down, the trip back, and sometimes I've gone to a game with somebody, and depending on what's we're just catching up on life, and we just kind of jump right in. And then there's other times that just catching up on family and talking baseball because that's fun, but it's the car ride on the trip home that we just kind of start catching up on life and family or different things that God is doing in our lives. And so I think just the opportunity to do this, that there's the benefit that God brings my way because it gets me out of my rut. It gets me up off of my couch or my recliner at home. And the combination of giving me the excuse and the opportunity to get out and do something. And it's something too, just thinking about this, I was talking about my wife earlier, and she recognizes that for me, I don't often get out and do things with friends, or that it takes a little bit more effort or intentionality. And where for her that she will do things on occasion with some friends of hers that they'll get away and have a girls' weekend, and it's a no kids, no husbands weekend away, and you get well earned, and she does other things too, visiting, going back to her mom's and visiting down there. But it's kind of like where's my outlet? This is something that that we she allows me to be able to do, and we're able to kind of dialogue and partner and team up. But I'm grateful for it because absent of that, it would be very easy for me to just kind of stay stuck in my introverted rut. And so I'm grateful for her within all of this. So Amy, if you're listening to this, and I hope you are, I'm giving you a shout out here because I truly am grateful.
So our final question, we've touched on it a little bit, at least on half of it. There's so many obviously great opportunities for fellowship and going to these bases. Have you had any opportunities for outreach?
Sure. So one of the things where I'm thankful that God has made me a sports fan. With what I do as a pastor, and there are times that you're talking with somebody and getting to know them, and then work come up, hey, what do you do? And I'm a pastor. and you could all of a sudden you can see, the countenance on their face change, and you could see the walls go up, and I mean, in one regard, it's not like I'm wanting to hide anything, and yet I realize that there's, whether it's a stereotype or whether it's somebody's feeling convicted about something, it could be for any number of reasons. What I have found with sports is that it has given me just such a common ground, level playing field opportunity just to have conversations with other guys. And because it breaks down those walls, it breaks down those barriers, and whether we're complaining about whoever the Cubs manager happens to be in any given year, and how he's misusing his bullpen, or why is he putting this person pinch hitting in this situation, or it's just common ground stuff that you could talk about. And just having the opportunity to break down barriers, can go a long ways. And then on top of that, so I'm thinking in particular of a couple of guys that I know that they're disabled veterans. And, one in particular that I'm really hoping to get down to a ball game with this year, and just kind of have some time, just kind of catch up on, life, and hopefully be able to speak into some things. Somebody that I count as a friend, but sports has been that common ground thing, and maybe this becomes the opportunity, just as we're catching up on life and catching up on the whole Chicago sports scene, because there's plenty to be talked about with that. You just kind of talk about just, hey, how's life? How are things of faith? And I know last time we got together, you were kind of thinking about this, talking about this. How's that going? And you do it all within the context of just going down to a ball game and having some time to hang out. So it's not this, hey, let's get together so we could talk about what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
Nor is it, you're just kind of talking and passing, and, it's, small talk. And again, we're guys, we could talk about sports, but the quantity of time provides you the opportunity to cover, a wide range of topics. And, just when the opportunity is right, just to segue into, man, let's talk about just some more meaningful real life stuff here. And you hope and pray that God opens some doors for that. But yeah, it's interesting, even though there's a little bit of I know not every pastor this is their experience, but it's been my experience that you'll have guys that'll kind of put up those walls. But sports, going to a ball game, it helps break down those walls. And I'm truly thankful that God has just given me that interest of sports and baseball, and giving me ways just to go down to a ball game a few times a year with some people. It's a lot of fun.
Well, Brandon, thank you so much. It's speaking of even baseball too, the amount of wonderful memories I have in fellowship with you with baseball and going to games, and the silly stories that we will have for a lifetime, whether they win or lose. Great fellowship is had, and that's honestly the best part.
Absolutely.
So thank you for all that. Thank you for sharing this with us. Thank you for the amount of people, like, I often hear it's like, oh yeah, I went with Brandon the other man. I'm like, well, hey, this man, he's getting some good baseball in. And so thank you for that, because as you said, like, it's for a purpose too. Like, yes, it's baseball. Yeah, that alone is great, but then it's for purpose, as you've been explaining over the last 10, 15 minutes. And I love that. Being able to use something that you love dearly for more than you is just like, that's the catalyst behind this whole series of hobbies, is taking something, yes, it provides you rest, it provides you growth, but it provides you opportunities, and that is so exciting to see advantages taken.
Well, in so many ways, I mean, it's humbling, truly, just all the different ways that God's blessings have been poured out in my life and my family and everything else. And boy, anything to be an instrument of His blessings in the lives of others. And man, it sounds like a cliche. You can never outgive God, but boy, oh boy, you can never outgive God. And anything that He's provided for me, and I can allow others to share in that. If He can use that as a platform for doing things that can have more lasting value in people's lives, man, I'm all for that.
Amen. And audience, thank you so much as always for listening. I couldn't do this without you. Goodbye.